Hi, I'm Jessica Salaji, publisher of thegeorgiavirtue.com. We're so excited to offer a compilation of videos this election season. The TGV Candidate Spotlight Series is an independent video feature produced with one goal in mind: providing voters with as much information as possible before they head to the polls. There's no agenda, we don't make endorsements, and we aren't beholden to any giant media corporation. The series is produced thanks to our advertisers and the generous donations made to the TGV Sunlight Fund and communities we cover. We extended an offer to all of the candidates seeking office this year, and to ensure the integrity of the questions and in fairness to all the opponents, every interview was recorded prior to the release of the videos in that race. For that reason, candidates who did not agree to an interview prior to the air date for their race will not be featured in this series. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget, you can find more content on this election cycle and much, much more on thegeorgiavirtue.com.
Joining us today is Len Fatica, who is the Democrat candidate for Bulloch County Commission in District 2C. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Len Fatica. I go by Len. I've been down in Bulloch County about 7 years now. I'm former Director of Public Safety for Lucent Technologies, former businessman. Used to own a chiropractic practice with my partner in Columbus after I retired from Lucent Technologies. Then I did my consulting with the Pennsylvania State Police for about 1.5 years on their networks. So decided to move south and kind of enjoy the weather, but the last couple of weeks, I don't know if that was a great move, but no, I still love it down here in Statesboro.
You're running as a Democrat, but local government races aren't exactly partisan in the same way that they are at the national level, and it's obviously so close to the people. So why don't you talk about your approach to government and governing, partisan, but how you'll look at it from a community perspective?
And that's so true. It's that down here, you know, we've got to do it at a nonpartisan level. The people here deserve to have the best candidate. I feel that I'm the best candidate because I've got experience with government and dealing with governments. And, you know, you've got to listen to everybody. Everybody's got to have an opinion, but then you got to do basically what's the best for the most people overall. We have 81,000 people in this county, and it's going to grow to 100,000, what they say, within the next 5 to 7 years. Everybody's going to have a difference of opinion. You got to allow them to express that opinion, but then you have to weigh it versus what other people are looking for.
Talking about that and kind of piggybacking off of that, what do you feel like are the most important or the biggest issues facing Bulloch County right now? 3 of them, just your top 3.
Well, first we're going to have development. That is coming whether people want it or not. You got to do it, though, in a planned manner, and that's my experience. I hold 2 certificates from the Carl Vinson School of Government from University of Georgia on zoning and planning, and I sit as the vice chair of the City of Statesboro Planning Commission. So we know what it is to look at, you know, smart planning. I know the county has done their development plan after they put the moratorium in place for, I think it was 6 to 8 months. And what they have to do, though, is be disciplined enough to stick to that plan. Everybody's going to want them to fudge it a little bit, but, you know, to me, it would have to be very, very, not sure the term I'm looking for, beneficial to the county as a whole to vary from that zoning plan.
And the other two issues?
Other 2 issues. So the second one is public safety. As we grow, we need to get our services out into the community. We need to get our firefighters out there. We need to grow the fire department, unfortunately, because, you know, people are going to want faster response times. We also need to get the sheriffs out there in the ambulances. To me, if there's going to be a new firehouse built, I want to see it with a bay for an ambulance so that we can lessen the time down. Unfortunately, I needed an ambulance for my spouse not that long ago, and it took them 19 minutes and 47 seconds to get there from the fire district, which is downtown, out to where I live off of 67 and Josh Deal Road. And it's a good thing it wasn't a heart attack or stroke or anything like that, because then it would have been dire consequences. So I think response time should be under 10 minutes for everybody in this county. And I know we're leaving some parts of the county behind, like Portal and Register, and maybe even parts of Brooklet. And it's going to be hard, especially with unpaved roads that we have. I was kind of astonished to learn we actually have more unpaved roads than we do paved roads in this county. And it costs money to pave roads, but we've got to do it slowly, perhaps, but it's got to be done over time. And the third thing would be just looking at the budgets, looking to see where we can get public funds, not public funds, government funds, for especially police and fire. I mean, you buy a fire truck nowadays, a ladder truck is going to cost you $1.5 million, even before you outfit that with all the equipment that's needed, the apparatuses that's needed on that fire truck. Same thing with the ambulance is going to be a couple $100,000. So we need to be careful where we're spending our money. And to me, my priority would be public safety, because we got to protect our citizens, and to me that's number one.
You talked a little bit about planning and zoning because of your capacity with the city, but let's talk about planning and zoning and how that is balanced with growth, right? Because you talked about sticking to the plan, but we also have private property rights. So how will you approach kind of that balance?
Well, I said this Tuesday night in a forum that I was speaking at with the other candidates. And, farmer, as I see it, and I said this to Senator Max Burns, I said when a farmer is ready to retire, they got three things that they can do with their property. They can either give it to their kids or sell it to their kids. They can lease it out for $1,500 to $2,000 an acre, or they can sell it for $10,000 to $20,000 an acre. And for me, it's like, who am I as an individual to say what a person can do with their retirement fund? However, that being said, it's got to, if they want to develop that land or have a developer buy it from them, it's got to fit within the planning and zoning plan that the city has. You can have mixed use, but you got to be careful that, and I know my competitor talked about, a house on 1 or 2 acres. That's not a good use of land. I've seen homes down here in surrounding counties, especially, where there's one house on 6 or 7 acres of land. There's a better use of that land. It's a natural resource that we don't make any more of. God's not giving us any more land. So we've got to be smart the way we do it. At the same time, get affordable housing in here, because that is critical. My competitor in an interview said that the county gave a developer $250,000 for development. That is not true. That came from the state, that $250,000. And what that allows a developer to do is to use that grant, and it's a $2 or $3 million state grant that people can apply for, to help build the infrastructure for the roads, so that cost is not on top of what it would cost to build a house. So that is truly the effect of that.
One thing that's been a talking point for the better part of the year is transparency. Do you think the county is transparent enough?
I've gone to county commissioner meetings and city council meetings. They're all basically the same format, where at the end of the meeting you get to 5 minutes in the county, and actually there's only 2 minutes in the city to voice any concerns you may have. To me, what I would rather do, and I will make a pledge to do, is to go out and have individual town hall meetings. Maybe quarterly if possible, at least once every 6 months in different parts of the community. And not only my district, because as a county commissioner, yes, we're elected to a certain district, but we got to govern for the whole county. So I'm doing that now with my campaign, that I invite anybody to reach out to me, call me if they want to do a living room town hall meeting. Invite your neighbors to hear what I'm all about, because I'm the new face in town. I'd be happy to do that. And then they can make up their mind who they wish to vote for.
Based on the services that most taxpayers receive, do you feel like, in your personal opinion, that taxes are too high, too low, or just right?
I would say right now they lowered the millage rate for the services that they get right now. Taxes, I think, are about right. I mean, I came from Ohio. If I took my house here and moved it to Ohio, my taxes would be 3 times what they are down here. But that's also one reason I moved down here, was because of lower tax structure. And I'm a retiree. I live on a fixed income of my Social Security and a couple small annuities. So we have to be careful with the tax dollars. I think the issue of what happened is that they kicked the can so long down the road of not raising taxes that when they finally really had to do it, it had to be a tremendous amount, and that really hurt citizens, because when you hit them with that all at once and the assessment, people weren't planning for that. But you know, the city just raised theirs, and it's going to $200,000 house, and that's going to equate to about $150 a year. Don't go to McDonald's once a month, and you're going to pay that $18, you know, for that. The county, a little bit different. So until we can see the revenue off of the development, we can see the revenue off of the industry that's coming in town. And I know some of the industry got 10-year tax abatements. That's standard anywhere in the United States. If you want the business, you got to fight other counties that want that business or other states that want that business. So that's not unusual. We got to be careful also, though, with our schools. Schools could be an issue, but again, working hand in hand. What we need to do, again, I'm going to come back to it. You know, together we all got to work together, and that means school district, city, you know, the cities in the county plus the county, so that we can make better decisions that benefit everybody.
Is there anything that you feel like the county should be spending less money on?
Less money on? Not really. I know we're filming this at Splash in the Borough, and people have complained about Splash in the Borough. I sat down with the finance director. Splash in the Borough makes money. There's parts of this park that don't make money, like the Aqua Center. But again, and I spoke to this, you know, at a county commissioners meeting. You've got to have a good Parks and Rec department. I don't know of any Parks and Rec department in the United States that makes money. They break even, they may make a little bit of money. It's all about quality of life. I mean, I've watched, before you came along, I was watching some kid get his tennis lessons. So it's all about quality of life, because if you don't have good Parks and Recs, especially for the younger kids, they're going to be out roaming the streets, and then that's just going to drive crime up.
And you did mention public safety as a priority, but is there anything or things that you think could possibly need more money?
Fire department is about 20 years behind times, and I'm not getting that statistic just from the fire chief here. I'm getting that from my experts that I know, that I dealt with, and basically they say, okay, what do you have? We're switching from a volunteer to a manned, paid fire department. That happened in my hometown. We did that, and it put a burden on everybody that, you know, taxes did eventually have to go up. But, you know, what you get by having a strong fire department, for instance, your ISO rating will go down, which means your homeowner's insurance goes down. I can tell you that when the Bulloch County Fire Department ISO rating went down to a 2, I saved about $250 on my taxes, or excuse me, not on my taxes, on my homeowner's policy. So, you know, you've got to balance all that out.
In a time of division, not just in the country, but even at the county level, why do you want this job?
Sometimes people told me I'm crazy, but no. I read a book a few years ago, and I still have the book, and I've given the book to a few people to read. It's called Love Thy Enemy, and we really need to work together. And basically what that book talks about is learning to disagree without hate and contempt in our heart. And we have that on both sides of the political aisle. You know, my standard joke is, if the Republicans propose something, the Democrats will automatically vote it down. The Democrats propose something, the Republicans automatically vote it down at the national level. You know, let's disagree on the Senate floor, the House floor, then let's go out to dinner and figure out how to get it done. Those days are long gone, because they don't have those communications. So we need to, you know, learn to disagree, talk to each other about our disagreements, see what makes sense, and do it with an open mind. I may disagree with you on some policy issues, but I'm going to listen to you because you've got a shot at changing my mind. If it makes sense, then it's like, okay, I'll admit it and say, I'm wrong, you're correct. Let's make it happen.
And is there anything else you want voters to know about you before they head to the polls?
Been always very strong in any community that I've been in. I've served as a national disaster manager for the American Red Cross. Been on a number of hurricanes, Hugo, Andrew, Opal, Floyd, too many to mention. I've been working with the VOAD team here. When I first moved down here and met Ted Wynn through the Rotary Club that we both belong to, he recruited me very quickly to become a member of VOAD and to work with Dorian Grace on that. And during the last storm, I was cooking or serving meals at, I think, 4 different churches. I kind of joke that I am now a Catholic, Methodist, Protestant, Baptist, because those are all the churches I was at during that week. If you're going to live in a community, get involved in a community. And guess what? The more people that we get involved in the community, the less we may have to pay for services.